Bill Gates drops a massive red pill, dabs on all the normies. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious, bringing you the obvious. And today, we are on Twitter. Bill Gates at Bill Gates Says. And this is a massive red pill that he drops, and I want to use it to explain how the media lies. I'm always amazed by the disconnect between what we see in the news and the reality of the world around us. As my late friend Hans Rosling would say, we must fight the fear instinct that distorts our perspective. It had 36,000 retweets and 95,000 likes. So let's check out this picture. This is the massive red pill that he dropped on all the normies. So this is just one example. It says, causes of death in the US. What Americans die from, what they search on Google, and what the media reports on. So here, you can see causes of death. These are the real statistics, and this is all from 2016. So these are the real statistics of cause of death. Heart disease is at 30%. 30% of all deaths in the US are caused by heart disease. It is the leading killer. Cancer is second place, with 29.5%. Road incidents, accidents, 7.6%. Respiratory disease, 7.4%. Alzheimer's disease, 5.6%. Stroke, 4.9%. Diabetes, 3.8%. Drug overdose, 2.8%. And yet they say it's an epidemic. Kidney disease, 2.7%. Pneumonia and influenza, 2.5%. And self-dissociation, 1.8%. Self-death. And then at the very little bitty bottom, homicide, 0.9%. Terrorism, 0.01%. Smaller, actually. Okay, so now let's look at Google searches. This is what people search for, in comparison with actual causes of death. Heart disease, 2%. Isn't it hilarious? It's actually kind of sad. Heart disease is a leading killer, yet only 2% of people ever search about it. Everyone's concerned about cancer, as you can see. 37% of searches on Google are for cancer. That's far more than actual cancer. And heart disease is far less than actual heart disease. Road incidents, fails, and accidents. 10.7%, that's pretty close to the original. Lower respiratory disease, 2.1%. Alzheimer's, 2.9%. Stroke, 6.5%. Some of those are smaller, some of those are close. Diabetes, 8.9%. Drug overdose, 1.3%. Kidney disease, 1.1%. Pneumonia and influenza, 5.2%. People look for self-death quite a lot, 12.4%, even though it's only 1.8% as a cause of death. Homicides, 3.2%. Much higher than the actual, and terrorism 7.2. Much higher than the actual. Now, here's the massive red pill. This is exactly what's going to basically open people's minds. Here we have media coverage from the New York Times and media coverage from The Guardian. Both of those are left-wing. Look at what they report on. Heart disease, 2.5%. Again, it's the leading cause of death, but no one talks about it. Cancer, 13.5%. Road incidents, falls, and accidents, 1.9%. Lower respiratory disease sits at 1.2%. Alzheimer's at 1%. Stroke at 5%. Diabetes at 2.4%. Pneumonia and influenza at 5.2%. And it's pretty much the same story with The Guardian. They're very similar. Now, let's look at the big ones. Homicide is covered 22.8% of the time. Pretty equal with The Guardian, 23.3%. And terrorism is their leading search, 35%, 33%. Now, how does the media lie? I think by examining this chart, you can see exactly how they lie. Homicide and terrorism are the smallest parts of this graph of causes of death. But the media focuses on homicide and terrorism the most. Homicide is 0.9% of all deaths. The media covers it 22% of the time. Terrorism is 0.01, less than 0.01% of death. Yet the media covers it 35% of the time. Are you beginning to see how they lie? How to lie with statistics 101. Focus on stories that are true, but are actually a minority. And who are we kidding? The media doesn't tell the truth half of the time. So the media glorifies the smallest aspects of our society, and they push a narrative. They push narratives. They push programming on viewers. They lie to people. And I want you to notice the correlation, and this is why the mainstream media is so dangerous. The media talks about cancer, so I see a correlation here. I don't know if everyone sees it. This is just my opinion, but look. The media talks a lot about cancer, so a lot of people search for cancer. The media talks about heart disease, never. So people never do Google searches for heart disease. Homicide makes people look for homicide more, and terrorism makes people look for terrorism more. There's a very striking correlation here. I'm sure some of it is just people's psychology, but this is why the media is so dangerous. It is massive programming. It will influence what people do and believe. And you're telling me that alternative news, that independent creators aren't allowed to tell people the truth? That we should just listen to the mainstream media. It's literally brainwashing. That's what the media wants. They don't want to lose control of the populace. They don't want people to not be NPCs, to take the red pill and to wake up. That is their nightmare. You can't control me, you puppeting bastards. So, here there's a little asterisk. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm probably wrong. This represents each cause's share of the top 10 causes of death in the U.S., plus homicides, drug overdoses, and terrorism. Collectively, these 13 causes accounted for approximately 88% of the deaths in the U.S. in 2016. And it has a link for more data. Now, this is an extremely important graph. The media lies. The media absolutely lies. And they can lie with facts, they can lie with half-truths, they manipulate information. Bill Gates, probably without even knowing it, is dropping a massive red pill on all the normies. Elon Musk replies, "Do you need any more proof we're living in clown world?" Fear and memes get clicks. Self-appointed Pope of Muskianity says, "How about memes we fear? Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. KFC. Chicken." Oh, that's actually a really good joke. Yeah, memes we fear grow in power. That's my answer to that. Pepe the Frog is a really good example. People fear Pepe. They fear frogs. And now to dank May. Elon Musk replies with the emoji. Do you need any further proof that Elon Musk is really just an anime girl? Robert Shihide says something really good. A companion graph illustrating what government spends on preventing each of these would be interesting. The government wastes so much darn money. Patrick says, why shouldn't government waste resources on this nonsense? Mook says, yeah, because the government doesn't waste any resources as it is. And here you have a lefty, who's blue-pilled, spreading his propaganda and, his programming. Respectfully disagree. A death on a cancer hospital bed is not the same as one due to a bomb blast. It literally is, though. In case of terror, death is caused by others. Those people are innocent. Implying people who die aren't innocent. Think of their age profile. Think of the children. State can save them. Hue and cry on murders and terror attacks. Keep government alert. Save lives. Now that's cuck ideology. You're just repeating your programming. It's not the same. It is the same. People die. People are dying. What I will agree with is that we need to absolutely crush terror. The problem is, in order to do that, we might have to remove, certain cultures from the argument that are incompatible with Western society. Some people might say that, at least. Not my opinion, just what I've heard. Faisal Hakim says, interestingly, self-death rate is higher than terrorism and homicide combined. Also, who am I kidding? I bet all these words are not going to be liked by our internet overlords. Cliv Visori says, what if we ignore the fear that distorts our perspective? Then you get me. Dr. Pianco says, one of the worst things today is disinformation. Casper Mahler says, I think the issue isn't the amount of disinformation, but that people can no longer parse data, analyze it, to turn it into information, and live it to turn into knowledge. Says the obvious, the media controls our minds. And the only way to free yourself from that is to learn to see the obvious. You can't rely on people like me. You can't rely on alternative news. Because the sad truth is, we probably won't be around forever. You have to take the red pill. You have to absorb it and understand it. Open your eyes to the world around you and see things for what they are. And then when we're censored, it will be your time to spread those red pills. Manufacture more. Spread the message. Make sure that everyone wakes up. Although this is somewhat depressing, the message matters more to me than me. Audrey Ray says, you're not incorrect. But it's a false assumption to suggest media should cover in people's search for the actual causes of death. We search for the things we fear, and for events that harm groups of people unexpectedly. No one drops a child at school to have them die of heart disease. Now this is purple-pilled. He's right that we search for the things we fear. The problem is if you're educated and you see things as they are, you're no longer going to be blinded by fear. You will start to see the world as it is. And yes, it's human biology. People get really upset over the unexpected. But just because something is human nature, that doesn't mean that it should be everything. Although, I'm half and half on that subject. So yeah, definitely purple-pilled. There's good arguments for both. So Brad Wojtek, and this is the last, and that's the last comment we're gonna see here. This analysis was done by my data science undergraduate students here at UC San Diego as part of the final project for my data science and practice class last year. Happy to see it making the rounds. Thanks for sharing it. The professor who basically led to the creation of this project, not to mention the actual students themselves, you would think that they would get a lot of likes and a lot of retweets. They get 58. They get 5 retweets. That's another thing about the media and about all these elites. And yes, Bill Gates is part of the elite. They get to steal all the credit. But in Bill Gates' defense, because, he's a good-hearted man, good intentions, at least, he does leave a link, so that's pretty cool. And that's pretty much the story. I think it's far more than obvious by now that the media distorts the truth and just has bad intentions. But that's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this story? What do you think about Bill Gates dabbing on all the normies, giving them this massive red pill without them even knowing it? Be sure to let me know. Now, if you like the content that I make, you can support me on Patreon, Subscribestar, or donate via PayPal. Patreon and Subscribestar will give you access to a private Discord server called Fight Club. Or you can just share the video, that helps as well. As always, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.